Hello, welcome to Pro Wrestling Musings AEW review for March 23rd. I'm your host, Anthony Down Under, and welcome back. Thank you again for coming to visit us and pay attention to us while we talk way too much about the analytics of wrestling. Why do we do it? Because we're nerds and because it's fun, and we hope that you enjoy it as well. Today we've got a packed show, obviously very big show today. Lots of controversy, which we're going to dive into. Make sure that you are all, as always, following us on Twitter, which is our at PW Musings Twitter address. Also, our website www.prowrestlingmusings.com for all of the latest stats and all of our latest articles, including the most recent article, which is a AEW weekly review, um, and also the stats from this week's show, including Punk versus Hardwood, which we will go into later. Now, joining me today is a very special guest. He is the one, the only, the master of our wonderful Styles Makes Fights. He is Sergi, and Sergi's video is coming through. As always, we always have
Eventually.
technical issues. Hey,
There we
Sergi,
are.
welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since I've had a chance to be on the pod. Definitely looking forward to contributing more frequently. You mentioned my Styles Makes Fights a series of columns. Those haven't been as frequent lately, but definitely want to bring those back from time to time. And I have also been working on other projects that we'll be talking about a little later in the podcast. And I appreciate the opportunity to share my latest stuff that I've been working on, and also talk about this week's AEW programming and all of the analysis and statistics involved with that.
Excellent. Looking forward to talking about that. So let's just jump straight into the show. Obviously, we started off with AEW Dynamite, and we started off with CM Punk versus Dax Hardwood. Now, we do have some lovely stats in regards to this one, so I'm just going to pop over and show you an article that our wonderful stats magician Craig did, which is on on our website, which I'll link in the description for you. So let's have a look here. Here is our wonderful stats. So as you can see, Punk and Hardwood had a very, very close match. 51% match offense for Punk, 49% offense for Hardwood. Pin attempts 3 for Punk, 5 for Hardwood. Fouls 5 for Hardwood. Strikes 16 to 19. Strike downs 3 to 6. A very, very, very close match. Um, this in this article, you can see that Craig has gone through and had a look at different options here, and you can see different matches that he compares it to, including Brett versus Owens. So this article is called CM Punk versus Dax Hardwood, an ode to Brett. So make sure that you check that one out. Like I said, it will be in the link on this video. So Sergi, now that we've had a quick look at the stats in regards to this one, any surprises? How did you feel about the match, and what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I really enjoyed the match. It was a very good match. It wasn't, uh, one of Punk's most exciting matches so far since his return, but technically just really fundamental, and that's the kind of thing he likes to do.
Mm.
And of course, Dax Harwood. That's his whole thing. They are both big Bret Hart fans, and it's not surprising that it was a little bit of an homage. But
Yeah.
well, an homage is not really the right word though, because he has done homages to specific matches. In his
Mm.
match with Darby Allin, his match with Wardlow, there are some really near callbacks to specific matches. And when people were talking about like, well, is that going to happen with Dax Harwood? My immediate reaction was, well, no, it's not going to be like that because they both want to play Brett, so it's not going to work. But definitely had some similarities in feel, and that's exactly the observation that Craig made. Is that there it wasn't exactly like a throwback to a specific match, but it definitely had a similar feel to a Bret Hart match,
Mm.
and that the Hart versus Owen WrestleMania match was the closest of the matches he compared it to. The one
Mm.
that had the most similarities of just the general flow.
Now, I've seen a few people say that they really enjoyed this match and actually put it in one of their top matches for the year so far. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that's just a matter of taste mostly. Um, I definitely can see how, uh, depending on your taste and your general preferences, that it could be up there for you. It's not my kind of thing on that level, but it was still very, very good. No question about that.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely, I wasn't the most exciting match of all time. It wasn't the most dramatic match of all time in the sense of there wasn't a lot of uh, there was no question about where things were going.
Mm.
Dax Harwood has no wins so far. It's an interesting situation to be in, and it's something that happens a lot in AEW with really high-level tag guys. That they'll occasionally step out into the singles realm. They don't generally win, but they still impress, and they don't lose. They only lose to very, very top level
Mm.
singles guys, and that's definitely where Dax Harwood sits. It doesn't add to a lot of drama, um, but it could always lead to a lot of places. Uh, the real intrigue in it is to what extent are FTR remaining heel? Are they turning babyface?
They
We
they
have later
definitely
on in the
they
show
definitely are.
MJF claiming that the Pinnacle is still a going concern, and I think he's or his character. Let me be clear. I
Mm.
don't mean the real guy, but the character of MJF seems to be in denial on that because I do not think that's the
Yeah.
case. It does not seem to be the case with them firing their manager and in many ways seeming to turn over a new leaf.
Mm. Yeah, look, I definitely think FTR are going babyface. After all, they are literally wrestling the Ass Boys next week, so definitely going on that babyface. So, and now they're talking about family and honor and all that sort of stuff. That's all very babyface stuff. So, and to be honest, I can't wait for it. Especially if they still are planning on an FTR versus Young Bucks rematch with FTR as the faces and Young Bucks as the heels. Very interesting dynamic, but you'd have to, yeah. So let's move on to our 8-man tornado tag versus the Andrade family office, and which had Butcher, Blade, and Private Party versus Sting, Darby, and the Hardys. Obviously, very, very crazy match. And yes, my cat's tail just came in cat camera. Sorry about that. So yeah, look, very crazy match. With obviously Jeff Hardy saying, "Hey, Darby, I know how crazy you are. Well, I'm just gonna hype that up to 11, thanks." Very much cementing he's here to wrestle. He's here to do crazy things. That video of him jumping off of that wall has already, I think, gotten to 1 million. So, yeah, obviously massive amounts of coverage in there. What do you think of the match, and where do we go from here?
Well, the tornado tag match. They've had a few of these lately. They had one at the pay-per-view, and it's coming to be kind of a specialty for Sting and for Darby to just be in chaotic matches like they had um, with with Punk against FTR and uh,
FTW goats.
MJF. And just a lot of opportunity for some really um, intriguing. Uh, it goes all over the place. It
Mm.
goes all from every part of the arena, and I think that the rules work very well for the kinds of stories that they're trying to tell. In the sense of um, it lets them scatter and do different things in different places
Mm.
and go between places, but the understanding that the pinfall has to happen in the ring keeps it from being like, well, how in the world can they even determine who comes out on top in this with it all over the place.
Yeah.
It's everyone who is away from the ring is simply pulling, they're doing something strategic where Um, like I'm pulling people away from the ring so that yeah, I can't get the win out here, but neither can they because I'm keeping them busy.
Mm.
Um, and the match also had, like you said, a lot of really amazing spots, amazing stunts, and that was something. It was definitely something to see. And as our own Trish pointed out in the roundtable this week, that was um, a really impressive showing for the Butcher. Butcher had a heck of a match and had a really great singles match against Darby
Mm.
last week as well. So between the two, she considered him her MVP of the week, and I can definitely see where she's coming from on that.
Mm.
The Butcher was pretty impressive, and along with Darby, doing that spot, throwing him down the stairs.
Yeah, no, look, I 100% agree. Fun match as well. And this week we're going to have Andrade versus Darby in a singles match, so that should be pretty good. I imagine if they're going to carry on this feud, that Andrade is going to get the win there, and I really think that he needs to get some wins. So we'll see what happens and see if they're going to push this feud any further. But maybe get an Andrade versus Sting one-on-one match at the end for custody of Darby. Who knows? But let's see where we go with that one. Obviously, lots of fun
How you
spots.
know?
Yeah, how you know. Lots of very fun spots here in regards to this one. So, as always, you can't help but to enjoy these sorts of matches. So the next we'll go from our chaotic eight man tornado tag to our very violent Mox and Brian versus Varsity Blondes tag match. So again, Regal on commentary is just amazing, and I hope that he never ever finds out Excalibur's name and just keeps calling him Mask Man. I really enjoyed that. And the way that he's talking and putting over both Griff and Pillman was just fantastic. Seen a lot of people suggest that Pillman might be a good shoe in for the team. Oh, what's it called? The Blackwood Blackwood Combat Club is what they've calling themselves, and they've released a shirt now. So we've now got the name, and they did a promo at the end where they basically said, "We're not just gonna let you in. You're gonna prove yourself if you want to join us." So, um, yeah, my prediction last week. Sorry about my cat's tail. My prediction last week was actually that they were gonna have a um, Wheeler Yuta one-on-one match. But instead, we got a Wheeler Yuta promo where he basically come out and said to the best friends, "No, I want to be the best pro wrestler." So I'd like to see him obviously start doing some matches and start building that. But I think definitely from everything that they're saying, they're definitely going to be a longer build than a lot of people think. So this is our long term story here. Is obviously our sports entertainers versus our pro wrestlers, and I think why a lot of people are thinking, "Hey, we're going to get into this pretty quick." I think it's going to be a lot longer than people think. So and I'm all keen for that because I like where this is going. So it's going to be up to them to keep us entertained and keep it going for long enough and to strike when it's hot. But so far, I'm very happy with this. So what did you think of everything that happened in the match and the promo?
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about with this: the match, the promo, the commentary. Um, One thing that I think is really interesting. Um, it's not a very popular view. A lot of I've gotten some flack from people who disagree or feel that it's bringing down the tag team division to look at it this way. But I don't really see them as a tag team. I don't see them as being particularly interested in the tag team division itself. They are tagging as a way to showcase themselves and showcase what they're doing, what they're intending. They have this plan to become a force in AEW um, that of mentorship and
Hmm.
bring in the young guys and show them the right way or their idea of the right way, and um, they're in tag matches just because at the moment there are just two of them, and that's all there is to it. From my perspective.
That hurt obviously, and now they've just basically signed him and put him to the ground. And yeah, he's now basically just basically locked, and he can't wrestle now. So I wonder if we're gonna have him coming in trying to interfere in MJ's stuff, or where we go from here. Obviously, they're trying to build this feud, so I imagine we're probably going to end up with MJF versus Wardlow in some sort of function for Double or Nothing. Whether or not that be after the Pinnacle comes implodes, because obviously it's just him and Spears really at the moment. Very interesting. So I'm just gonna have a quick look here. Let's go through and have a look at some more of this article here. So this is just to show you basically the article a little bit more. Just have a nice look at some of the comparisons in regards to the strikes and that is happening here. And we can see here the chats. Alright, and it looks like we might have Sergi back, so let's just see if we can bring him back in now. And I do apologise about all that. Sergi, can you hear us? Oh.
It was just white noise for a little bit, but logged in and out a couple times, and seems to be working again. Should I pick up where I left off, or
No,
have we
we've
left that behind?
moved fast. Sorry, I just talked about MJF's promo. So if you want, take us through Jay Lethal versus Adam Cole. What's your opinions on this one?
I Jay Lethal and Adam Cole I couldn't even say two words about a match involving those two. Not my cup of tea. Yeah.
Are you one of the you don't enjoy Adam Cole people?
Uh, I mean, he's all right. He's not bad.
Mm.
He's good, but not exciting for me.
Yep.
I can take him or leave him, and Combining that with Jay Lethal, yeah, I wasn't really paying much attention to that match.
Yeah, I'll admit that anything to do with Jay Lethal in any regards, I switch off. So I didn't watch it. I did watch the segment at the end where basically Hangman came out to confront after being called chicken. Um, got in a bit of a scuffle and Adam Cole stole his belt. So later on a Rampage, they steal the other belt. So currently at the moment, um, Red Dragon and Adam Cole have all the belts, and fun thing happened, which will I guess will lead us into the next segment. Um, Britt Baker posted about that they weren't going to do what Ty and Sammy did with the belts that they've got currently. So
Yeah.
let's let's go through that promo. So we had Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte coming out and just basically like, we love all of you people, yay, typical like very basic face promo. And to be honest, Sammy should be above this level at the moment. I feel he's been a champion. He needs to be doing better promos than oh, you people, all you people are great sort of thing. They talked about wanting to get revenge, and then obviously Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Dan Lambert, our co TNT champion, came out, and that is how I'm going to refer to him from now on, just to annoy everyone, including myself. I'm annoyed at it as well, so don't worry. But it is brilliant that what they've done there. They came out and obviously Sammy's trying to get a match against Scorpio, and Scorpio's just said, "Nah, not having that. Not gonna do that." On Rampage, there was actually also a segment where he said that he's stopping the open challenges. If you want to challenge him, you have to prove that you can. So very interesting way to take the belt. Obviously, a very heel thing. But I am a little bit concerned because at the moment, obviously, the you're getting the AEW championship only challenged for once every now and then, and the champion's not having that many matches, and now you're going to also have um, another champion not have any matches, and especially for Scorpio, who basically got his win streak and his win record on Dark and Elevation, and hasn't fought on Dynamite for ages. I feel that he needed to really wrestle and beat really good people in the ring and show why he should be champion. And I think that this isn't the right way to go about it. In the end of the segment here, in regards to this one, Sammy and Ty alluded to that they did some adult activities with the belt, and a photo was put on their Twitter of them laying naked with the belt wrapped around Ty. So that's caused a lot of issues online, which we're not going to get into because it doesn't involve us. If they want to post that, that's up to 100% up to them. But it was a very interesting moment because I think a lot of people would like to see them go heel and become like overly noxious. Kind of like the A level couple in the company, and I feel that this would have been a really good moment to do that if they were going to do it. I don't feel like it was a particularly strong. Like I said, I don't feel it's a particularly strong promo. There wasn't much meat to the bones here, and I guess I guess it was a hit and a miss. And a lot of people are saying that Sammy and Ty are the new Cody and Brandy. So let's hope not. But what did you feel about the whole thing, Sergio? I saw some facial reactions there that indicate that maybe you absolutely love this segment.
No, 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 not at all. It was all right. The I was more thinking that you're making some good points about about the rankings and
Mm.
about the and how that affects the TNT title. On the flip side, there are more titles now. We've got the TBS title being defended very regularly.
Well,
Um,
it hasn't been defended in the last 3 weeks.
yeah, but I mean, generally, it
Yeah,
was defended every week for quite a while.
it was.
Um, and so there's other titles that they can focus on. But on the flip side, you have this. You could say, well, we're not going to have an open challenge, And I mean, the TNT Championship, the best way I've ever been able to understand it is that it's champion's choice,
Mm.
because usually the champion, in that case, can choose his challenger, which could include an open challenge or a specific challenge to particular
Mm.
people or whatever. And it's been like that from the beginning. Sometimes the champion chooses specific challengers, like I want to fight him, I think he deserves it,
Yep.
or they put the sign-up sheet on the wall or whatever it is that an open challenge consists of. So it's not changing that much to say that it's champion's choice, and that Scorpio Sky can choose to change the rules on this, because the champion has always decided on the rules in the case of the TNT Championship, as opposed to the World Championships. But the flip side is that he's saying that, well, you need to earn it, and that's kind of trudging on the toes of how they are, in theory, booking the World Championship.
Mm.
Like, well, how do we prove it? And if you've proved it, well, maybe you should have a world title match.
Yeah.
Like, to what extent have you proved? And yeah, like, why wouldn't you go for the world title in that case if you've proven that you're on that level?
Yeah.
Um, so it remains to be seen what he means by proving that you're worthy to challenge for the TNT title.
Mm.
And I think that, like you were saying, if he's not, um, he has created a lot of bragging rights based on very little. Um, Not just in terms of the fact that it wasn't broadcast on television, but if you go back and look at who these matches for this year-long win streak that Scorpio Skies has been against, it hasn't been against pretty much anybody who has any wins themselves. And I think that that's the part where a lot of the premise of AEW's booking and of their ranking system tends to fall down, is in
Mm.
strength of schedule.
Yep.
That there's a lot of people who are being touted as, world beaters when they're jobber beaters,
Mm.
and it's just, it fails to impress. And but on the other hand, as a bad guy, he should be ducking uh,
Stronger.
legitimate
Yeah.
competition in order to show his cowardice, to show
Yeah.
the traits that make him uh, the bad guy. So it's a tough line to walk.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. So next we're gonna move on to the Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch rubber match. So this was obviously our third match in this series between the two of them. The first match Hirsch won. Second match Velvet won with a assist there after not getting knocked out, and then this one Hirsch won again via cheating. So now we're obviously rebuilding into Hirsch versus Statlander. So
Again,
Statlander, yeah, again, Statlander's got a new look and seemingly a little bit of a different new attitude as well. So um, to be honest, it's I didn't like Hirsch losing the other week because if they wanted to get Statlander back involved, it could have been to save her after a beatdown. Hirsch has been really hurt. She got that huge win on the pay per view, and I thought, yes, she's finally getting this push. She's had the heel turn. She's had a couple wins. Now she gets this huge win over Statlander and has really established her. And then all of a sudden, she's then lost to Thunder. She's then, which is, she's now the champion. That's fine, but considering like how that she lost so quickly after this huge match, and now she lost to Velvet, and now she's just won due to cheating again. I just feel like a lot has been taken from her, um, and she's obviously going to lose to Statlander, and that means that she's lost more than she's won, and I don't like it, especially because at the moment in the rankings, she's the second high. She's one of the highest heels. So the heels in the rankings at the moment we've got Deeb, Nyla Rose, and then her. We've obviously got Brett, but Brett's not going to challenge Rosa anytime soon. They'll keep them apart. But
Mm.
for her to be, she's at the moment ranked fifth, but for her to be losing like this is, it's just, I don't know. It goes into the, I guess, the wider thing of that the as much as we've seen some improvements in the women's division, and we will get into this, they're still failing on the fundamentals. But what did you think of everything involving Velvet Hirsch and, I guess, the match and the build of this program?
Well, I don't love everything to do with it, but I think probably for different reasons.
Hmm.
Um, in my case, I'm still not entirely convinced by the idea of Layla Hirsch as a heel. I don't particularly want to root against her. She's just I've liked her from day one. Like this is someone that I like,
Mm.
uh, and I think that the best use of her, really so far that I've seen, is wasn't in AEW, but at the NWA
Yeah,
All Women Pay Per View
yeah, that was.
for the championship. She's a size underdog who makes up for it with technical excellence and fighting monsters fighting much bigger opponents, fighting monsters like that. Probably would be where I would want to see her. But I don't know that I would say that as far as as well as far as I think that the issue with trouble as far as women's pro wrestling is just that it's so undramatic. There's so much dramatic happening in that division, and I think that AEW is more fragmented and has several different issues going on, and I think that that's actually a temporary thing. I think maybe overnight, and that's true.
Involved in this segment. It's just, it was so, for me, it was so bad. And the question that stuck with me, the more and more I've thought about this, is would this have happened to Brit? Would they have done this sort of thing to Brit? And the answer is clearly no. There's a much easier way to do this if this is what they wanted to do, but you had to give Rosa her time to actually celebrate and talk about, give herself a moment to be the champion on her own terms. Throughout the build up, she hasn't really cut many promos or in depth promos. So it would have been really good to see her do that. I don't like the the Nyla build because Nyla, unfortunately, she's got this stigma where she'll go into these very quick, short programs for the belt. She'll lose and then disappear for a while, and then do the same thing over and over again. She's and if that's what she's doing, that's fine. But one of the issues that we had with the um, Brit title run is that there was no real challenges there. Every pretty much every match was we knew who was going to win, and when you're going into a match and you're like, oh yeah, I already know that Nyla's going to lose because that's exactly what she does. It doesn't really there's no real reason for it. I saw a few people mention that maybe that what they could have done instead, and yes, she could have lost, but it would have done the exact same thing. What they're wanting is a very quick first feud. They could have had a first feud with Martinez instead, who obviously has that history with her now in regards to it, and she could have come out and said, after Rosa had spoken to people, she could have come out and said, "Hey, congratulations on winning the belt." Obviously we had a little bit of an issue, but I I want us to actually fight properly now. Let's have a proper fight now, and I want to see if I can actually beat you for that. Without without Britt being involved. So, and that would have achieved literally the same thing. So I don't know. I just feel like this was such a step backwards. Now Nyla did cut a promo afterwards, which was aired on Rampage, where she basically said, everyone's saying that it was disrespectful and that was the point that she won the championship in this building and all that. Um, Fantastic promo. Have it on goddamn Dynamite. Have it if they wanted to do this, okay? Have her do that promo. Literally have a backstage thing. Have the backstage Titantron interrupt her and say, you cost me this. She just proved in this promo A that she didn't need Vicky, and B she could have done it on the Titantron, and then basically came out and attacked her while Rosa was watching the video that was that she thought was live. There's lots and lots of ways to do this that was better, and everything about this just obviously has really made me upset about it because the women's division unfortunately is the weakest part of this of AEW, and it has been since the get go. And for every step forward, we seem to be getting 3 to 4 steps backwards, and it's just infuriating. I just want to see good women's wrestling. Is that too much to ask? Sergi, I have talked a while. I need to rest my voice. What's your opinions on everything here?
Well, I agree with you on most of your points, but don't have quite as negative of an overall view. I mean, the segment was very bad. It was badly done. It was poorly thought out. Um, I think that just about anyone else, if they were being given a uh, a celebration, a championship celebration segment, would have been treated with a lot more care and a lot more attention to detail, quality. Um, on the flip side of it, I think that in a lot of ways, as I was mentioning before, that the the women's division is in better shape than it's been in many ways since way back in the women's title eliminator. In terms of there being some intrigue, there being multiple feuds going on at once, and I think that that's great. Um, Not all of the feuds are perfect. There's certainly negatives to some of them in terms of, I mean, they can be better in many ways, but they've got something going on, and several different characters have things going on, and they're making time to give them a chance to do something. And I think that that's great. I think that that is a really important step forward. Even in the case of even when something gets messed up, as the championship celebration with Thunder Rosa, unfortunately, definitely, I would say was. Um, but I think that the thing that really is important to keep in mind about the women's division is that if it was completely bungled, then we would not care the way that we do about it being better, because they wouldn't have gotten to the point of us caring about these characters and they have. There are numerous characters who have successfully gotten over with us, the hardcore fans who uh, talk about it online and et cetera, and the fans in the building. They're over with them. They know who they are and what they're about, and that's an accomplishment. That's something they have successfully done. Um, Whoever you want to credit with it in terms of, I mean, sure, you can always say the women should get more time than they do, but they have got enough time in order to get a number of characters over in terms of who they are and why we care about them and why we root for or against them. So uh, I think that that's a caveat or a silver lining that shouldn't be forgotten.
Very interesting point, something that I hadn't really thought about. For me, I guess it's more of a question of when we look at the build of the men's division and that versus what's going on in the women's division, this stuff wouldn't happen in the men's division. It's just that's basically how I view it. Of we want everything, we want it to be equal, and we want the stories to be good and everything, and it just is missing. But it's always good to listen to someone else's view because it gives you time to think on different things that you might not have thought about. So obviously very interesting. So the last thing that we'll talk about now, I don't know what your opinion on them is, but obviously the JES is the greatest thing that's happening in wrestling at the moment, and there'll be no argument on this podcast about that. So if you are going to be negative about GAS, you can get off. I'm joking. It's all good. So last of all, we had Silver versus Reynolds versus Jericho and Garcia. So take us through the match. What did you think about it? What do you think of the JAS? What, where are you sitting on everything that's going on here?
Well, there are definitely two different sides to this. Uh, the JAS storyline as a whole and what they've got going on with that faction, and the uh, um, earlier in the show, the promo segment that they had with them, and then the match itself. Um, One I am much more positive about than the other. The match, it was a case of wait, what's going on last? All through the show, I was like,
Mm,
what's the main event going to be? And Yeah, as a match, it was fine. As a main event, it was why is this the main event of Dynamite?
mm,
This is the show. And I think that sometimes it forgets that. That like as far as a whole lot of fans are concerned, this is the show.
yeah.
This is our week revolves around it. This is it. This is the big show and the main event of Dynamite. That's a big deal. That should be excellent, and it usually is. And this was this was a mid card match that just happened to be on last for some reason.
Mm,
But on the flip side of it, the the storyline of the Jericho Appreciation Society and the ridiculous um, praising of everything, every terminology WWE ever used, and all of that. We're sports entertainers. We beat pro wrestlers up. It's hilarious. It's really working. And when it turned out that the Daniel Garcia was joining Jericho's group after he'd been teased for Danielson and Moxley's group. I was just like, well, why is this happening? I mean, he seems like a perfect fit for Danielson, right? Uh, but hearing him uh, go completely against the grain and say, I'm a sports entertainer with a shit-hitting grin, it's just perfect because it's so facetious. I mean, Jericho, you can believe Jericho kind of means it, but
mm,
Daniel Garcia, clearly not. It's such a great character building move for him to willingly say something you know damn well he doesn't believe, and in fact believes the exact opposite. But for his own advancement of his career, he's going to say it anyway. It's lovely. It's
mm.
really well done, and I've been really impressed with everything that they've been doing. And it also kind of makes sense of why he was ever running with 2.0, who are definitely more sports entertainers than Daniel Garcia to begin with.
Mm. Yeah, look, everything I've really enjoyed everything that's been going on. It's the most entertained by Jericho I've been in for some time. So the Garcia thing is just a stroke of brilliance. So yeah, I'm really keen for this. We all know where it's gonna eventually end up, and like I mentioned earlier, it's gonna be a long build, but I'm here for it. I'm just waiting for Eddie and Proud and Powerful to return as their first proper feud. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of when they pull that trigger, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly touch on Rampage. There's a few things that obviously we want to just briefly touch on. So Archer fought Dustin Rhodes and lost, mainly because it's Dustin Rhodes' hometown. But having Archer lose, and Archer's also still linked to what's his name, Dan Lambert,
Lambert.
and that's odd. I don't know why Jake's not there, but it could be a health thing, which is understandable. Um, but yeah, it's just very interesting, and the booking of Archer is very strange, especially since he was just in a world title picture and is now losing to Dustin Rhodes. It's not particularly good. They could have had any heel come through and fight Dustin here. It didn't have to be Archer. I don't know why it was Archer, but here we are. Um, we've had the amazing Hook segment where Hook was sent. He came down to receive the first inaugural um, QT Marshall Appreciation Award. Um, he smashed it over Solo's head. He walked up the ramp. Daniel Danhausen tried to curse him, and it seemed to not work. So we now know that Hook is curse proof. Just adds to his mystique and his power, I guess. We had Dark Order 5 and 10 versus Red Dragon in quite a fun little match. We had a 30-second squash match from Nyla, and the main thing was Swerve versus Starks in a fantastic little match on Rampage. So, Sergi, do you have anything from Rampage that you really want to talk about or discuss?
Well, the one segment from Rampage that I had to make sure I'd had a chance to look over before joining this podcast was the Hook segment, and it did not disappoint. If you hate silliness in professional wrestling, do not seek out this segment. But if you love the appropriate level of pro wrestling silliness, it's absolutely perfect. Just fantastic. Um, just you're not going to often hear me say that a segment that involved QT Marshall was just perfect and fantastic. That's not my usual, you know, mo. But QT could not bring this segment down.
No.
A couple of things about what made it work. First is um, simplicity. They are choosing to use the simplest and most basic building blocks of what makes someone get over as a anti-hero uh, with Hook. He barely speaks, and he just simply does logical, and he just he's faced with the ridiculous, and he uh, is annoyed by it as anybody could sympathize with. Like, he doesn't just play along with, okay, I should be honored. Like, no, that's ridiculous. This is the dumbest damn thing ever. Why did you drag me out here? Also, it's very generational, in the sense of, I remember the commentators were saying something like he seems annoyed that he was woke up for this, and he just
Hmm.
seems very much like someone that a teenager could very much empathize with
Yeah.
and can connect with, which I think is a big part of his appeal too. Um, and I think it was really really cool to see two of the most just over meme type wrestlers facing off against each other. It was To be completely ridiculous and over the top with it, it was like Rock meeting Hogan, except if they were meme wrestlers. It was just it was fun, and um, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to interact in the future. I thought Danhausen's, I think it's new gear, new to me anyway, with the teeth all over the place. It was really kind of cool looking, and, and another thing that's really basic about getting over an anti-hero is no selling something.
Yep.
People love it when you no sell something, and he no sold the curse.
Yep.
Like, yeah, whatever, man.
And and the funny thing about that is, it up until now it's been 100% effective. So this is the first time it's not worked. So, they had built up this whole thing that the curse was literally as powerful as the One Winged Angel at 100%. Like 100% effective rate in AEW, and now just like the One Ring Angel, someone has kicked out of it.
The confusion on Danhausen's
Yeah, it
face
was
at
great.
like, what? How did this not work? I made the gesture.
My
It
power,
was great.
yeah. Okay, so let's move into the last couple of things. So, moment of the week for you, out of everything that happened in AEW, what was your moment of the week?
Ah, that's great. I'm glad that you brought that up because we can go back to our technical issues. My favorite part of the week, definitely, and it was what I talked about in our roundtable, was John Moxley's promo. Did a fantastic job of getting over the whole concept and name, the new faction, clarifying that it is indeed a faction, that they haven't forgotten that and just become a tag team. Um, and and just making it really clear exactly who and what they are and what they're about.
Hmm.
Um, One of the things that I was a little annoyed by, I guess maybe that's not the word, just disagreed with the general gist of things. A lot of people felt that William Regal had kind of thrown John Moxley under the bus and praised Danielson and you probably saw some memes about it. Uh, this is the greatest thing ever, and this guy, on the other hand, I
Hmm.
found in the trash. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like people fail to realize that for William Regal, uh, the greatest technical wrestler in the world and the worst person I've ever met, just the most awful, vile villain I've ever met, are equal praise from William Regal,
Hmm.
from his mindset. It's just not. You got to understand who William Regal is and what he values and what he means. He loves great
Yeah.
technical professional wrestling, but he also really loves villainy. And it's just in a really uh, wholesome way.
Yeah.
Uh, and and of course that led into the backstage segment that you mentioned before,
Yeah.
between Wheeler Yuta um, and best friends, and that was what made it so interesting to me, was just the fact that it's already creating waves
Hmm.
in the whole promotion, because everyone's affected by this. Everybody who has a little buddy, a young boy, a rookie, their own rookie, anybody who has that has got to be thinking, maybe they're going to be tempted away by
Yeah.
this new group.
Yeah.
I just that was my favorite part.
Yeah. Perfect. So for me, I think it was definitely the same. I think I really enjoyed that. Really enjoying everything. I was worried for a little bit that they had forgotten about the whole, training the young lions thing, but Regal coming in and them starting to do this, they've gone about it the right way. So yeah, let's go. It's We all now know that it's going to be a long build, so let's stick it out here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play guess the stats. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Sergi. So do you consider yourself a stats master?
It depends on how you look at it. I feel like I have a good sense of understanding and analyzing the stats when I see them. I don't know if I can generate them from just having seen a match, and but we'll give it a shot.
All right, so I've not told you what stats or what match. I'm going to give you, but I want you to guess them. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to stick to Dynamite because you've said that haven't quite finished
Don't
Rampage
really
yet, but
watch
that's
Rampage.
look, a lot of people say the same. It's understandable. Let's go into our Silver Reynolds versus Jericho and Garcia. Amount of tags for each team.
That is a really good question. Um, the I would be surprised if the heel team didn't come out on top in that. That is certainly more common.
Yep.
Um, Obviously, Silver and Reynolds have great tag team chemistry and a lot of experience as a tag team, as opposed to like this brand new team of mainly singles wrestlers. But generally, the bad guys have as their way of telling the story, have the better, the more frequent tags and the better handling of that. So I'm gonna go with the heels.
All right. Uh, Submission percentage for Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch.
Well, it would be a heck of a shock if Layla Hirsch did not have more submissions. Um, I think Layla Hirsch has an interesting style because she always seems technical no matter what type of offense she's using.
Hmm.
You know, she uses a lot of high flying moves. She uses a lot of strikes, but she uses them the type of those that are associated with the sort of the junior style, the very technical sort of style. But of course, she uses a lot of great grappling maneuvers and submission holds. Yeah, and I don't think that that's a big part of Red Velvet's
No.
arsenal at all.
All right.
So I'm going to go with Layla on that one.
Excellent. All right. And final one. Are you ready for this one? Who had the most match offense in the eight-man tornado tag?
Ooh, that's tough because you had a lot of fiery offense and crazy moves from the baby faces, uh, but I'm going to go with the heels again. Their heat segments last longer, even if they don't seem to have as much impact over time, and it adds up. I'm going to say that the heels probably had a bit more offense than the baby faces, though it probably was closer than, oh, let's say, for example, the incredible murder by John Moxley and Bryan Danielson.
Now, I didn't use that one because you said that you already knew that one. So why don't you tell everyone what the match offense for that one roughly was?
They had like double. It was I thought it was really interesting the contrast between what Punk was doing with Dax Harwood in an incredibly even match, and then the just absolute murderization of those poor Varsity Blonde boys in the tag match.
I do want to know what on earth is going on with Julia Hart, and is she actually going to join the House of Black? Because that's been ongoing and needs to be addressed like very soon. Because I feel like they've just dropped that. Julia, in all of her credit, has continued to carry it on and continue to do it, but it seems like AEW has lost very much interest in that, unfortunately, because I felt that she would have been a really good member of that. But anyway, um, that is our stats guessing for today. So now I'm going to get you to project something. Now, I just remembered that on Rampage, and you might have missed this. They announced that this week's on Dynamite, they're going to have the first round of the Owen Cup, and
Oh,
they're
already.
yeah. But hang on, they've told us that it's going to be Bunny versus an unsigned new member to the
Uh,
AEW roster. So my challenge to you is to predict who is fighting Bunny and getting signed to a new AEW contract.
I, oh, it has to be a baby face. Oh, okay. I'll go with whatever Ember Moon's calling herself now.
Athena,
But
Athena,
yeah,
Athena is her name.
Athena. That's
Okay.
right.
Well,
Yeah, I
I'll
had
give
to
you,
go with Athena.
I'll give you the four most likely. Okay. How about that? All right.
All
Athena.
right.
There's former Ember Moon.
Hmm.
The Tony Storm.
Right,
I
right.
don't know if she's still in her 90 days. The former Mia Yim. Obviously, we've got Keith Lee in the promotion, and the former Tegan
They're a
Knox.
couple?
Yeah, Mia. They're married, so yeah,
Oh,
very
I
much.
didn't know that.
They got married like 2 days before his debut in AEW.
Hmm,
But
I hadn't heard
the,
about that.
the final one is Tegan Knox. So now I've given you four. Do you still say Athena, or do you think that you're going to change your mind?
No, I mean, my AM, that would be really something too. But I'll go with Athena. That'll be my
Okay.
guess. I mean, it's just a guess. I'm glad to hear updates on it. I saw on Twitter the talk about that Tony Khan was planning to sign a big new women's division wrestler, and
Mm.
that's really exciting. That not only that it's happening,
Mm.
but that it's being treated in that way as just as big of an announcement as if they were signing a big men's single star.
Yeah, and they're doing it the same way that they did for Keith Lee. My guess is Tegan Knox. I think
Yeah,
it, I think Athena is going to come in as Jade's challenge after the 30th win. So
that's a good thought.
whoever they've got as the 30th win is going to be the 30th win. I don't think it's going to be Athena, but I think she's going to come in for a Jade match and potentially beat her. But I think that they're going to get,
Someone's got to eventually.
yeah, I think that right now they need another veteran in there. And I think Tegan Knox is in a really good position to do that. If her 90 days is up, I would definitely bet on Tony Storm. I'm not sure on her 90 days because she's really good friends with Britt Baker and most of the roster. So, she's in a very strong position to be caught up as well. So, yeah, but I think Tegan Knox makes a lot of sense, especially down the line if you want to add a female into the Regal's group. Regal has multiple times mentioned how good he thinks Tegan Knox is. Um, so I think that would be a really good add in. So yeah, all right. Now, Sergi, you wanted to talk about some stuff that you are currently working on. So
Hmm.
why don't you tell us what on earth we are looking at?
Well, I have been working on a new spreadsheet. You know that probably a lot of listeners are aware that the Styles Make Fights series is based on a spreadsheet, a workbook that I use to compare the fighting styles of different AEW wrestlers. But I decided to take another crack at the rankings, at the concept of ranking wrestlers based on their wins and losses and their strength of the schedule. And I've decided to take a new approach to it based on tiers. I mean, most people have seen those tier charts where these are the things I think are S tier and A tier, etc. And and then and that's basically what I want to look at is how can we really work out what is the strength of schedule that someone has based on who they've beaten and who that person has turned around and beaten, and not just like wins over someone who's never had another match or who's never had a win, and really uh, getting into the difference between those two things. Um, and there's two main pages to what I'm talking about. The one you're on is tier bar, and that is where you can look at an individual wrestler and then look at their wins and losses based on the competitive strength of their opponent. So, like what you're on right now is Max Friedman, and you can see that his only two losses are against the very strongest of opposition. And if you switch to a different wrestler, you'd see something different.
Do I just click on this
If you could,
arrow to switch wrestlers?
yes, the if you that arrow lets you a choice of all the wrestlers who meet the qualifications of the categories on the left, how many matches are minimum, etc., etc.
Okay.
But yeah, you can it'll change to a different bar graph for a different wrestler if you just switch it up.
Yeah. So it's not letting me switch.
Here, let I it should be changeable by anybody, but maybe it's
No,
not.
that's okay.
Is
Let's.
it changing when I do it?
Uh, yeah, there you go.
Did it
So
change? Did
yes,
it
it
change to
did.
Cody Rhodes just now?
Yep. Yes, it did.
And that's
Yep.
see, and then there you see, a lot of there's a few losses and a couple of draws, but those are only at the very top level of competition. And then if you switch, well, I'll switch since we're
Hmm.
looking at the same thing. Um, then there is ranking people based on that. And what I want to do is compare the rankings that AEW has been putting out, their top five rankings that they've been putting out from the beginning, with what I would consider better rankings based on the analysis that I've been doing.
So is that in this
And
rank section?
what
Is that in this rank section here?
yeah, I just went to the rank tab, and
Okay.
like this is as of the data that I've input so far, who the top wrestlers are, um, with a little bit more emphasis on the most recent 6 months, but with some consideration for the lifetime of the wrestler within the promotion.
Mm.
At that point, Maxwell Jacob Friedman would be my number one wrestler, with just ahead of Kenny Omega, based on their record and who they beat and the strength of their schedule. Now, the only thing I've been working real hard on getting everything this to do everything I want it to do, and all that's left now is a little bit more data entry. I only have up through. I still have the most recent year of matches to enter into it, and then it'll be ready to move forward with it. And like I said, to do some comparison between what I would say would be the top wrestlers based on this analysis and the rankings that AEW has been putting out. So in the next week or so, I'm hoping to have to put out an article with that comparison.
Excellent. Well, that is really, really cool, and I can't wait to actually have a proper play around with that and see who you think is the rankings and all that. So, yeah, that's going to be really good, and that will be posted on the Pro Wrestling Musings website as well and
Well,
Twitter.
the article in a week or so, definitely. But the link to the spreadsheet that I'm hoping it should be set up so that anybody can change the input boxes, if not anything else.
Mm.
Um, I'm hoping to have that put out via Twitter, via my Twitter, around the same time that this podcast is out, so that as you hear me speak about this, you can take a look at it.
Excellent. Well, the most important thing, Sergi, is how are people going to find you?
Well, I have my Twitter, Sergi.alderman, and that's the Styles Makes Fights. Is if you search for that, that's going to bring me up. And then I have the Styles Make Fights section of the Pro Wrestling Musings website. Those are the main things that I work on. Although I also do the power rankings, put out some of the power rankings along with Peter Edge. We kind of split them between the two of us, and I just joined the team that does the weekly roundup. I'm going to be doing analysis of my what I think is the best promo of the week each week, and each of us is going to tackle one aspect of the show or of the AEW week, rather to keep it a little bit more focused than it had been in the past.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you're as busy as ever, which is why you hardly ever on the pod because you're always so busy with writing. But as always, Sergi, it's always a pleasure to have you on. So thank you very much for coming on. And when your entire new project is up and running, I'd like to get you on so we can go through it in a bit more detail. I think it looks like a really fun thing. So yeah, look forward to having you back. So thank you again for coming and joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I would look forward to that. We definitely should make a plan to do that.
We definitely will. All right, thank you again, Sergi. All right, so last of all, I just want to thank everyone again for joining us for today's podcast, and yeah, please make sure that you do subscribe. Please comment and like the video. We definitely do love comments, and we want to read about your opinions, and we want to give you ours back. Make sure that you follow everyone. Obviously, I'm Anthony Down Under, which you can find on Twitter. Follow us at Pro Wrestling Musings on our website, on our Twitter. I'll have everything in the descriptions. So just make sure that you're looking at everything there. And as always, enjoy wrestling because it is so much fun. And we're all a bunch of nerds just enjoying what is the most nerdy thing in the world, which is wrestling. All right. Have a good one, everyone. And till the next video, thank you again. Bye.